Hi everyone, welcome back to another lightsaber video. In today's video we're going to be looking at this brand new hilt that I just received yesterday. This is actually the pipe stunt, or also known as the shared stunt from Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. This is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber that he actually ignites on screen. So this is the stunt hilt that's used in the two scenes where he turns it on. First of all in the homestead with Obi-Wan, and the second time is obviously on board the Falcon when he's training. It is also known as a shared stunt because at some stage later in production, the story or the theory is that Darth Vader's stunt saber became faulty, or something was wrong with it. So they took this one and just kind of painted the tip black. The shroud there, they painted it black, or they applied some black tape or something just to make it kind of look like more Darth Vader-y, and so Vader used it in his scenes as well, so that's hence why it's called a shared stunt. But I've left it as kind of in the Luke configuration. So just for reference, this is obviously the hero hilt that we all know from A New Hope. So this is the hero hilt, or the belt hanger. So this is a static prop made obviously from a Graflex. And this is what you see in Luke's hand on his belt in its sort of off state. And what they did at the time, the technology for the blade required motors. And that was just in the first movie. In Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, they developed some different kind of technology. But in A New Hope, at the time, they needed to use motors inside that would make the rod spin. And that was the same idea for all three lightsabers, Obi-Wan, Vader, and Luke. So basically, they just machined these kind of thin hollow metal tubes that would resemble the hero hilts, the Graflex, the MPP, and the Obi-Wan. So they would resemble them, and they'd kind of dress them up with sort of accessories to make them look as close as possible to the original. But they'd be hollow from the inside, so they'd have a core, they'd have a motor, they'd have wires and switches. So the wires would run underneath the actor's sleeve like that, so you wouldn't see it. And then for the scene where they're going to ignite the lightsaber, they just hit the switch, and then that rod would start spinning. And attached to the rod is a blade that would spin round very fast and glow. And through that spinning action, you get the kind of shimmering rotoscope effect that you see in the first movie. So yeah, that's it. Now onto the hilt itself. This is a limited run. It's run by Ethan on the RPF. His real name is Matthew Deltour from France. Really, really nice guy. He's done a run in the past of Vader stunts. So he's done the Barbican hilt, the square shroud, and the Return of the Jedi severed hand. And it was a very, very successful run. Unfortunately, it sold out and I missed it completely. But having seen the results of his work and just the incredible feedback that he got, I wanted to jump on this as soon as it was announced. So he announced it a couple of months ago, started working on it. He did the whole thing by himself, just machined everything. Obviously, research. I mean, there's not a lot of reference materials for this. There's just some grainy black and white behind the scenes pictures, because they're doing their best to kind of hide it from you. So it is hard to get good reference pictures of this hilt. But he did, and to his credit, he did an incredible job with the overlays, just kind of matching everything to how it looked. This was particularly challenging for him, this cut. But yeah, it's basically just a machined pipe. The bottom end of it is kind of machined like the bottom of a cobalt, which is possibly what they use. It's unconfirmed because it's flat. So yeah, he'd done the knurling as well. It looks perfect. It looks just like a cobalt bottom. And the rest is, so all you had to source for this was grips, a clamp, bubble strip, red button, and glass eye. That's it. So he's obviously done the cutouts for these two, which are threaded. So I sourced this vintage early former red button with the thin knurling strip, which is accurate for this hilt. A beer tab, which is just glued on. Underneath we have a sort of a late Fulmer button. Just zoom into it a little bit. So it's a late Fulmer button. It's a little bit wider than the Hero. So on the Hero you can see a very early Fulmer button with a very, very thin rim. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. A Fulmer button is a Fulmer button. Just use whatever you can find. But this one in the reference picture seems to be a little bit wider on that top shelf. So that's one I went with. Yeah, button, beer tab, eye, a clamp. Again, I used a vintage Fulmer clamp. And I used vintage Exactra bubble strip. So basically the same as what I have on the Hero. Just sort of all vintage. So I cut that down and did the chamfers on the edges so it can fit nicely. And then the grips are from Wonawonga, except for these two central grips, which are offered by Ethan on his store at Super Green Props. I will link it down below. So you can purchase these two grips directly from him, which are pre-cut with that kind of circle around the switch. And then everything is inside. It's got some weight to it because of the motor and the core and everything. It's pretty nice. He's obviously done all the soldering and assembly for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. I mean, you could get it in different options. I got the fully motorized one, which was like €200. You could have got it for like as a DIY kit and just kind of, and he posted an extremely thorough tutorial how to, do all the soldering yourself, how to assemble it yourself, so that was obviously a cheaper option, but I just wanted to get it, as ready to go as possible. So yeah, brilliant. It comes with this battery pack. So this takes 8 AA batteries. Just show you. So literally just 8 regular AA batteries to power the motor, and I'll just demonstrate with the cables attached. So once these are attached, there's an on-off switch here. Switch it to on position, and then it's ready to go. All we do is press this button down and you'll see and hear this rod spinning. And I love the sound of this because in some of the behind the scenes footage, before they added obviously all the sound effects and colors and everything, you can actually hear when the actors kind of turn on their blades for the duo, like Obi-Wan and Vader in that first movie. I believe you can hear that kind of that spinning sound. So it's really, really authentic, and it's just an absolute masterpiece of craftsmanship. Really, really impressed with it. Such a great hilt to have in the collection. An actual FX or stunt hilt from the first movie. I mean, this is the first one we ever see lit up on screen, so it's so iconic. I mean, of course, the well-known versions are always going to be the Hero versions, the belt hangers, because they're they're made to be beautiful, so they're made from real world parts and things like that, whereas these stunt ones are machined by the production team. So like the Obi-Wan V2 and the MPP square shroud, things like that, they're kind of meant to look like these at first glance anyway. But yeah, I really still like it, and I just thought it's one more to add to the kind of Graflex, even though it's not a Graflex per se, but I wanted to add it to the Graflex collection. So yeah, extremely happy with it. So I'll link Super Green Props down below if you want to have a look at his website. He's got a lot of cool things on his store. Unfortunately, I believe he is sold out, although I think he did comment yesterday to say that he's got a few more remaining from either people that have dropped out of the run, or he made a few extras. So check it out if you're interested in one of these. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.